Alright, so in this video I want to walk you through and do some tasting of the 2012 ancient tree raw Pu-erh that's now available on HyperionHerbs.com. Just give you some information about it. I'll probably get kind of tea high from this and just tell you a little bit about how it tastes, how it feels, and why I really selected this tea in the first place, because I'm generally not a big Sheng or raw Pu-erh fan. Usually I find raw Pu-erh kind of aggressive in its energy, kind of like makes you feel a bit weird, not in a good way, and the flavor tends to be a little bit off, and then quality is a bit dubious, and it's just, yeah, it's not been that interesting to me. So the 2012 ancient tree, or GuShu as it's called, which that just means old tree, is from trees that are verified to be about 200 to 300 years old. And that's verified. It's not like they could be 20, but we're saying they're 300. These are like legit 200, 300-year-old trees, which when you're talking about GuShu or old tree Pu-erh, it's really dubious. People are calling things that are 30 or 40 years old, oh, that's GuShu, that's like ancient tree. And then you get people that are claiming that they have trees that are 1,000 years old or 800 years old. That it's kind of like, maybe not. But these are legit 200, 300 years old. And growing in one of the highest elevation regions in Yunnan. I think this stuff is about 1,700 meters, which is right around, I think, it's definitely the higher region of the top end. So basically what you're looking at is something that's been in the ground for hundreds of years, growing at a high elevation in an environmentally pristine ecosystem. So what you end up with is a tea that tastes really, really good. And I'm about third brew on this right now. I think I have about maybe 6 or 7 grams, 5 to 7 grams somewhere in my gaiwan. I didn't really measure it out. I just kind of put it in. And what you'll notice is that primarily what we're looking at, I'm not going to be able to show you too well, as it were, but you can see pictures on the website, is basically what really stood out to me about this cake was a few things. Firstly, it's from legitimately old trees that are verified from a high elevation, very clean region. It's the first reason. The second reason is that the cake itself is pretty much just all bud and then single leaf. So it's first picking really high quality raw materials. And then the cake and the leaves itself are still very kind of furry and fuzzy, which if you've ever seen really high quality white teas, they'll have this kind of furry, kind of fuzzy quality. And I haven't really seen many Sheng Pu-erhs that have that quality. So when I saw these cakes, I was like, whoa, okay, I'm really interested now. And then you also notice that I'm brewing without a strainer, even though I have it, but I'm not using it, is because really I want all those little particulates from the crystals and hairs that are on the leaf. Because it's really the stuff that, at least in rough experimentation, can really kind of feel it. So those are the first few reasons. The last reason is that the flavor is delicious. And I'm not someone who actually really enjoys raw Pu-erh, as I mentioned, but this doesn't have any of the astringency, any of the bitterness, no smokiness, no weirdness or harsh edges, really at all. Mostly what the flavor is just deeply kind of nectary, floral, honey kind of flavor with a nice sweetness and just a little bit of sourness in there, a little touch of just sort of cleaning your palate, but then like the honey, floral, light flavors definitely coat the back of your throat and hang around for a while. I mean, I've had it hang around for 20, 30 minutes after drinking the tea. I'm still really tasting it in the back of my throat. So those things really kind of blew me away and made me want to carry it. And then to be able to source it for a cake that was harvested 5 years ago, so the tea has about 5 years on it, and be able to offer it at a good price. It was like really exciting to be able to do that, and then drinking it myself, actually really enjoying it and really liking it. After being someone who just like really never cared about Sheng, tried a lot, definitely tried to get into it, and definitely had it on occasions, but it was kind of like meh, like it just doesn't really make sense. But this tea is like really super delicious, exceedingly good quality. I mean, especially finding something that's a really high quality raw material from such high elevation from such old trees, and then it's just one bud and one leaf, and then it still has all the fur and like kind of this like luminescent whiteness to it. It's like just looks and feels really quite nice. And then basically the feel from drinking it is really, really nice as well. It's not something I would necessarily want to drink late into the evening. I'm drinking this and filming this now about 5 p.m. The sun's still out. I'll be fine because it doesn't typically affect me, but if it was like 9 or 10 p.m. I wanted to have tea, this probably wouldn't be what I would go for because it can, like, you just kind of feel inspired. You feel a bit sort of like, okay, my brain is working better. I feel more calm and clear and focused, and I want to do something. Not like, oh my God, I have to do something. What is going on? I need to go for a run, or do I need to take a nap, or do I need to eat, or do I need to not hungry? Do I need to take a shower? Or, wait, I took it earlier. Like sometimes Sheng Pu-erh would really give me that effect where it's like my body was just kind of really confused. I'm tired, but I'm stimulated. I'm happy, but I'm annoyed. I'm full, but I'm hungry. Like I'm thirsty, but I'm not. Like you just get these weird sensations from a lot of raw Pu-erhs that I have, where I'm just kind of like, what is going on here? And really, over time, I kind of came up with a few ideas as for why that is. Number one, it could be just low quality material that wasn't really treated in the best way. That's one hypothesis. The other is perhaps the cake itself that I'm drinking is from all kinds of different mountains, different region, maybe the same region, yes, maybe a however many kilometer range, but all over the place. So different farms, different this, different that, and then it's all blended together, which kind of can have a bit disjointed of a personality. Like maybe this particular aspect of it was harvested really well early in the morning, there was dew on it, it was this particular side of the mountain, so the timing was just right. Maybe this other one was harvested from another side of the mountain that's like not as good, maybe it was later in the day, maybe the people were like really upset and angry when they did it, and they were stressed and they just wanted to get a good price, and it was their, who knows what other factors were there, but take all these things and blend it together, and if you're just drinking based on like, flavor, or what a lot of people do is just like the name, oh, this is a Pu-erh from this region, oh, cool, then maybe, yeah, that can work, but my sense of it is just as like really disjointed in the body. Whereas this is from basically a single kind of arbor, if you want to call it that, a single, chunk of trees that are all about the same age and tended by the same people in the same region, probably picked at the same time. So it's kind of comes across as a bit more of a just well-rounded feeling. Now again, just a hypothesis, could be totally wrong, but based on my experience with a lot of different teas, there's some weight there. Because I've had, certain kinds of oolongs that are straight from the farmer, straight from the family, and I'm talking to the farmer and saying, hey, like, how many hectares do you guys have? And then, who picked it? Who processed it? Oh, my grandma did on this day, or my aunt did on this day. And you can actually get this level of detail, and the tea you're getting is like a straight line sort of product, whereas a lot of sort of commercial teas that people have, larger scale productions, it's like, well, it's a little bit from over here, a little bit from over there, a little bit from here, a little bit from there, buying it all and then somehow putting it all together and then putting it under a label. To me, that's that it's just a mass-produced kind of commodity. And if you're really into tea, like super tea nerd, then those things can kind of matter. So all the teas that I sell, and all the teas that I really like, are like straight line back to who it came from, like the actual person it came from, which is, I think, it can make for better tea. Not always, because with tea, it's really it's a lot of variables that can be complex. Because I've had other years of this exact or the same region of tea, and it wasn't as good for whatever reason. The year before, a year after, just really wasn't as good. But this year was solid, so that's why I picked it. So if you want a really good, just daily raw Pu-erh that's really high quality and it's like actually for real old tree material, and then even just the leaf material, you can see like there's pretty much just all whole leaf and single bud in the cup. There's not like just a bunch of broken up, jagged, like swag and shake, which is oftentimes you get from a lot of cakes. Like for example, I'll show you this. I bought this cake from another vendor. It's supposed to be, you know, old tree material, supposed to be like really high quality, but I don't know if you can hear. Like a tea cake shouldn't hurt my finger to touch it, but this thing is hard as a rock. So maybe it was at one point really good material, or really was from an old tree, but then they completely ruined it because of this. So it's impossible to drink this tea and not just have basically a bunch of shake and powder in your teapot or gaiwan, because you can't break it up. So did they do that on purpose because they were trying to hide something? You know, did they put like good leaves on the outside and swag on the inside? Or do they not know what they're doing? Are they ignorant? Are they stupid? Did they make a mistake? You just don't know. But you could say, oh, this is from 1,000-year-old trees from this particular region, high elevation, hand-picked, hand-processed, totally organic. Okay, sounds great, sounds great, sounds great. And then you get it and you're like, nah. And similar thing with aged teas, like, oh, this is a white tea that's been aged for 10 years. Well, it could have been done on purpose because they like wanted to sort of increase the alleged medicinal components. Maybe they forgot about it. Maybe it was just swag and garbage, low quality tea to begin with. So they're like, hey, let's just hang on to it for a while and we can make money off of it in the future. Or maybe they're just all out lying because they're like, oh, there's a trend now for like aged tea, so we're gonna do this. So you just don't really know, and you can't necessarily take things, that's the point I'm trying to make, you can't really take things based on like face value or like a name or a word or these types of things that we're all really conditioned and subject to. And especially a lot of people I see in the tea community get really off on that. Oh, we're drinking raw Pu-erh, ancient tree from this region, and then I drink it, I'm like, this is garbage. Like, ugh. So just because something has a cool story doesn't necessarily always mean that it's going to be good. Maybe it has no story at all, it can be good. Maybe it's really good and it has a good story. That can also happen too. For me, like I said, I try to get both of those things. Like, oh, I know the story's good, it's cool, it's interesting, it's unique, and it also happens to be really, really good tea. And you know, I've also spent that like well over 6 figures on tea, trying tea, reading all the tea books, taking classes, taking courses, studying with people, to be able to develop some kind of discernment to be like, what's happening here and what does that actually mean? In addition to, you know, obviously eating well and exercising and meditating and taking care of my body, so I actually have a higher degree of sensitivity and connection to feel what's happening. Not in a way of like, oh, this tea really connects my ancient karmic lineage, Akashic records with the Pleiadian star system and a little bit of the star system, and I feel the energy shooting out of my back, but also out of the front. Like this horseshit that people say about things, which maybe that's their experience, maybe it isn't, I don't know. That's not what I mean by sensitivity. I mean just like, oh, feel good, happier, a bit more euphoric, a bit more focused, giggly, drunk, nervous system agitated, nervous system calm, digestion enhanced, gut inflammation decreased, diuretic, like these simple, observable, tangible things. And then, yeah, some energetic stuff, but that's kind of not necessarily that relevant unless, you really get off on your imagination and sort of the astral realm. So anyhow, I just wanted to spend some time and talk about the 2012 Ancient Tree raw Pu-erh that's available on happynerves.com now. It's a really, really solid tea, and it's, I think, probably $15 or $18 an ounce, so it's a solid price. I mean, this 5-gram thing I'm going to be able to brew for hours and just keep brewing it. And if after you brew this way, you can also put it on your stove, simmer it, get more out of it, put it in a thermos with boiling water, let it sit, keep doing that. So with really high quality teas, okay, it might be $15, $18, $25 or $30 up front per ounce, but you can get a lot out of it. Taste, sensation, experience, the way it makes you feel, the health effects it's giving for your body, the enjoyment, the ritualistic aspect, the sharing it with friends. So many things it's giving to you, and it's really a bargain when you consider for stuff like this, this tree's been growing for hundreds of years. And then people harvested this, put so many hours into making it into something good, and you get to drink it for pennies per cup. It's pretty awesome. We're pretty lucky and fortunate in that regard. But yeah, so anywho, without going on longer, I just wanted to make this video and share some information. My light has diminished, so hopefully this video still comes out. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.